but we are going to move into the types of podcast ads to create. And this is where we'll probably breeze through these pretty quickly because a lot of these things are, you probably heard about them or you know what they are without knowing the technical names for them, but we're going to break them down really simply. So what is your ad style? So as we go through these, I want you to think of which one would I feel most comfortable using? So deciding on which type of ads to use for your podcast can be confusing. I get that. What should I use at the beginning, in the middle, and the end? Should I do it all the time? Should I do it every once in a while? So I want you to decide which style is going to work best for you and your show. So here are all the different types of ads. Don't worry, I have some illustrations, not illustrations, that was the wrong word. I did not draw these. You will be so grateful that I did not draw any of these pictures. My kindergartner has way better handwriting than I do. But we are going to go through what pre-roll is, mid-roll, post-roll, and self-sponsored and branded content is something we've kind of already covered. But if you have any other questions about those, then don't be afraid to ask. So this is what a podcast episode looks like that has a pre-roll ad in the actual episode. We're going to talk about baked in ads versus dynamic content in a second, but I wanted you to have a visual so you can see at the very beginning. Let me make this full screen. So you can see at the very beginning, this part right here is what your pre-roll would be for this episode. So it's the audio clip, the audio file that you see or hear at the very beginning. And then you have maybe some main music that you always play, and then you have the rest of the episode here. So that is what a pre-roll ad means. It's the pre meaning the beginning or before, and it's happening before the entire episode really begins. Then we have mid-roll. Now, this is actually an example of what I used to do a long time ago with all of my mid-roll ads. So you can see there is actually a break right here. This is a full episode, and I did like a clean cut right here and right here, which, by the way, if y'all have any questions about that, it took me a second to figure out exactly when to put the mid-roll in an episode. And I find it just comes with listening to your own and like if you're doing your own editing, because I know a lot of people are, you can't hire a production studio yet. But I think that it's always good to kind of find that spot in between segments, or if you're talking about something and then you're switching gears, or you have a good pause where you're like, okay, now we're going to talk about, that's where you would want to put a mid-roll. It's not necessarily, oh, it's a 30-minute episode, so I need to put it right at the 15-minute mark. I don't think that there's a sweet spot for exactly where to put the mid-roll, but that's what it would look like. So a mid-roll is right in the middle of an episode. And then, of course, the post-roll is what you would put at the end. There's not an actual audio file right here, but what you could do if this was a baked-in piece of content, which we're going to talk about next, then that's what you would see right here. It may not even be pre-recorded. It may just be something that you say at the end of a podcast episode. Maybe it's part of your script and you just know, okay, I have this book promotion coming up, so I'm going to make sure that I talk about that at the end of the episode. So there's a few different ways to look at ads, but I just wanted to make sure the definitions are very clear. So y'all tell me in the chat if that makes sense. Say, I'm with you, or you got it, I got it, something along those lines. That way I know that we are all on the same page when it comes to the definitions of podcast ad types and what you will most commonly see in the podcasting space, whether it's, and you'll notice these now, when you start listening to podcasts, you'll say, oh, that was a pre-roll ad. Oh, that was a mid-roll. Oh, that was a post-roll. Like that was at the very end. You'll start to notice these things and you'll learn, do I want to have that for my episode that way, or should I do it this way? So I want you to start thinking about those now as you develop